Hey, I am here with Ignacio Carcavallo, one of our Academy coaches, experienced entrepreneur. I'm so happy to be chatting with you today.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah. So I like to start these interviews with a simple question. What are you celebrating right now?
Wow, that's a different question. I could say that I'm celebrating the power of all the ontological tools. You taught us that we use this framework, this tool, I think even science, ontology, the study of the being. And I'm very grateful and I'm celebrating the power and the depth of the tool and the process and the framework because it has allowed me to go all in this practice and still being safe, still being sure that I'm helping and I'm supporting others in a safe way. Safe meaning that I'm not projecting my own limitations, my own fears, my own past programming, and I'm allowing each client to live its life in his or her way, and that's for me is a celebration because it has brought me a lot of ease also because I can trust a tool that is safe, so I can go all in with it.
I love it. Thanks. Yeah, I love starting out with a celebration because it's you and I know that our brains have this natural negativity bias that we talk a lot about in the training, and it's a way to point the brain to what's working in our business and our lives. So thanks for that.
Instead of where's the danger, where's the danger.
Exactly, exactly. So this might be a difficult surprise question, but uh, briefly, you mentioned the ontological tools. So just, from your perspective, um, what does that mean? Because we talk about ontology here at the Academy. Uh, when simple language people can get who've never heard of ontology, what do you mean when you say ontological tools?
Good. So we know we I feel we live more in a psychological world where everything is about the psyche, the study of the mind. And I love that the ontology is the study of the being, because as we always say, we are human beings, not human thinkers. And the tools are actual tools, resources, or frameworks that can support us coaches in seeing the other person as he or she truly is and honoring his or her journey in whichever form it is. So that's why it's so different. This coaching, this ontological coaching, is so different than mentoring, or consulting, or advising, where there's a different stance. You know, the consultant knows more than you. The mentor has more experience, so will lead you through your path. And what I love from ontology is that we are equal, and I'm just supporting you and guiding you to find your own answers because I trust that you already have them. And I make sure that I support you in reconnecting to who you really are, to what you really want, so that you can discover that way for yourself, because that's the true empowering. I love that before I used to learn, I practiced a little bit about Gestalt coaching. And the thing that I love the most, especially being an entrepreneur and having so many employees in my first company, we had 700 employees over 9 years with a maximum
Wow.
of 145. So it was very intense and had to give a lot of advice every day, solve problems every day.
Yeah.
But what I love about the Gestalt and now this, for me, new angle, a new framework with ontology, is that when somebody asks for advice or consultation and you give them the answer, what you're unconsciously saying is that you do not have the power to solve your problems or to, resolve any issue or to do whatever you want in life, but I can do it. So I will tell you what to do because you cannot do it. With ontology, what I love the most, if I interpret it right, is that I completely trust you, that you are on your amazing journey of your life, and that you will find your answers. And I, for sure, I will make sure to support you along the way for you to discover those answers more efficiently or with more ease. But you can make it. I trust you.
Mm.
And that's very
Well said.
empowering.
Yeah, well said. That's great to hear in your words, and um, it's such a different experience empowering people that way, isn't it? You know, where you don't have to work so hard, and you just see that you can be in their corner supporting them. And you know, I see in your face how much you light up when you talk about it.
Yeah. And it's more, I work a lot with sustainability in many angles. And in this case, and it's something that I work with my clients also, how to become a high performer, meaning that you can fulfill your goals and dreams in life, but sustainably, so that we don't burn out after 1 or 2 years of extreme sprint. And what I like about this coaching methodology is that it's sustainable for me, because when you consult or advise, you're focusing on what's wrong, what's the problem, what's broken, and like a mechanic, I need to fix it. I need to step into your ground and see what's working, what's not working, and not fix you, but fix the situation. What I love from ontology, and I feel it's way more sustainable, is that the basic assumption is that you're not broken. I don't need to fix you. You don't have a problem, and you may be possibly acting inconsistently or incongruently to your internal values, to what you want in life, to who you really are. And by using this process, this framework, I can guide you on discovering your own answers, but yet assuming that you are an amazing person and you have what it takes, and you will make it eventually.
You just summed up the whole academy coaching approach right there. Well said. So you mentioned a moment ago, you know, you've had what, over 15 years of experience as an entrepreneur. You had a company that had over 700 employees. You had an 8-figure online business. You have so much experience as an entrepreneur and working with all these different people. Um, just what along that journey had you decide, you know what, I want to be a professional coach?
Interesting question. One thing that comes to my mind when I review my past experience as an entrepreneur, I still consider myself as an entrepreneur, because for me this is also a new company. I wanted to expand it because I don't want to limit the impact to only myself. So there's a common there's a commonality between all the companies that I've seen over the time. That is, I always, and this is part of my why, you know, the why process. When you discover the why, I'm the number one. That it's my why is to help others and to be part of something greater than me. And with my first company was the largest Groupon competitor, so Daily Deals. We did that back in 2010. It was a huge hype. It was like the next big thing.
Yep.
And over 9 years, this was back in Argentina, now in Los Angeles. We sold 2 million coupons in a 45 million population country. And what our vision and our purpose was to help people enjoy more their lives by having access to restaurants, trips, like hotels, spa treatments, from 50 to 80% discount or 90% discount. So it was a way to access all those services to enjoy more life. Second company was Trivotion, bracelet company that planted trees around the world. And even though, of course, the main focus was to help the environment, planting trees, and to help raise awareness, what I actually loved, like the meta concept or purpose, was to help people help. This means that to create a tool that enables people help the world in a very easy way, in a very fashionable way, because it's not a donation. You're still getting an amazing bracelet handmade by Balinese women, also with fair trade, to help them get out of their houses, because it's still a very sexist culture. And I loved that we could help people help. Cell phone, you're from the bus and you can plant trees in Indonesia. And then when I moved to the US, got the green card, I wanted to start a new company. So I took like 3 to 6 months for self-development, getting my health in check, balancing all the stress that I had with my past companies, traveling abroad, etc. And while I was doing a lot of meditations and taking care of my body and doing walks on the beach, trying to reconnect, I saw that I had been coaching other entrepreneurs for 10 years in a nonprofit that I'm part of, EO, Entrepreneurs Organization. And I saw that I always enjoyed this. And even when I coached or consulted my teams in my company, it's not coaching in our definition, but coaching in a company when you have a team and reports. Something that I loved the most was to shine a light on people's talents. And one of the things that I was always most proud of was to see people starting as, I don't know, like as a salesman, saleswoman, or a customer rep, and developing them until they were top managers after 5 or 7 years. That's what I loved, because I can really see people's talents and I believe on them. Sometimes I even believe more than them on their talents. So talking to some other entrepreneurs, they told me that here in the US, the coaching industry is huge and people are very open to coaching and love it, and they see a lot of value, and there's coaches for everything. Something that I don't have that much. I didn't have that much in Argentina. You have like mental therapists, maybe some coaches, but here it's huge. People really are open to have a coach for any specific topic. And that blew my mind, because I love also to identify something needed and to specialize on that, not to be just like a general coach in life. And I started talking to other entrepreneurs, and I started to connect with that feeling of, okay, let's see how can I add value. And the first trials were amazing. People were like, yeah, you should definitely do this. I am so motivated out of this talk. I'm so inspired. And I'm like, well, I think there's something here to explore. And then I met Ace, your academy, and I fell in love with the teams and the process. And then serendipity, the things started to fall into place.
Love it. Thanks for sharing all that. I can just tell how much you love supporting people, empowering people, and what stands out about what you're saying, and just how you're being with telling this story is you're inspired by people. And this is, I think, what makes a great coach, because a lot of times people think, if I'm going to be a coach, I need to be inspiring to people, and then they try to create this inspiring persona. But you're just inspired by people. It's so clear. And then, of course, when you show up seeing the best in people, inspired by them, you inspire them as well.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that, because I discovered what you are saying very recently, because people, even friends or other entrepreneurs would bring, I know we'll be in a meeting or in a dinner, and they would talk about their dream in life. And usually it's a dream that hasn't been fulfilled, nor it's being pursued. It's just like a dream. And I would be like, oh, tell me more about that dream, because I'm really interested. Because I really, really believe, I know it's a cliche, but I really believe in fulfilling everything. I have done it with myself. So when I start listening to them, it's like, tell me more about this. Because as you say, I'm inspired by the dream. And like the neuron mirrors, they're like, oh, so there's a possibility. So he's interested. So okay, I could do it this way. And the conversation ends up in a plan. Like, okay, that the other person is like, I may start doing this, and yeah, I should give it a try. And by the end, they're like, I'm so motivated. I'm like, I was just asking about your dream, but I'm really interested about it because I really believe in it.
I love it. Yeah, it's just uh, that's another way to reframe it, just the way you did. It's as a coach, I don't need to motivate someone else. I just need to create a space where they can tap into their own passion that's already there. They're already
Absolutely.
motivated.
Yeah.
Love it. So say a little bit more about so you work with entrepreneurs. It sounds like you've been focusing on that, which makes sense given all your experience. Um, but anything else you can say about who it is that you really love to support as a coach right now?
Yeah. So the usual kind of clients that come to me are either 6 to 7 figure entrepreneurs, figure meaning revenues,
Yeah.
with certain size. They already have some company that is kind of running. They're doing between, I don't know, 400,000, half a million per year in revenues until, I don't know, $10 million. That is, of course, the range that I've been throughout my life. My personal range as an entrepreneur in Argentina. I mean, $10 million a year in Argentina could be 40, 50 in the US, but I use the same number because of the country size and exchange rate. And or top executives that want to do a career change, but they all have something in common is that they see that they have some resources. They have a company, they have some employees, some team members, revenues, consultants and stuff, but they're not happy with their life in general. They don't have enough time. They're always running around. They're always late. Some just feel empty. Some just feel disconnected to their passion. Um, some are going through a divorce because they kind of, I don't know, dropped the ball on the relationship side because they were working too much, or they have 1, 2, 3 kids and they recognize that they are not being able to be present, either with mechanical time, they actually not there, or with what I call fractal time, experience time. That is, they are there in front of the kids, but they're so burnt that they're not there actually, or their health is not in check because they have neglected it, or their spirituality is not being developed, or personal development is not being developed because they just can't do it. It's so everything's so overwhelming. So I focus on what I call designing the life that you want in a balanced way. Um, they come saying, I want to change. I want to change something. I know that this uh, configuration that I have designed somehow is not working for me. Yeah, I have had some success and I have proved myself that I can do a lot of stuff and I am a leader and stuff, but I don't feel this is the right way to do it because I'm seeing I'm so tired, or I'm having sleeping problems, I'm having anxiety problems, I'm running around all the time. So that's kind of the person, the type of person that comes to say, okay, what can we do? What can I do with my life to be able to enjoy it and to be present and to fulfill my goals and dreams in all the areas, not only mainly in business.
Very clear. Very clear. And so you mentioned you want people to design the life that they love and with balance. You use this word balance a lot on your website. Um, what does that look like for a client? Let's say a client works with you for, I
Yeah.
don't know, 6 months. How long do you usually work with a client? 6 months, a year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So usually I don't have a predetermined time because as I have a 360 approach.
Hmm.
Um, it depends on how much the person wants to go. But yes, I recommend at least a year because as the person is going around all the topics, I don't
Yep.
specify. Usually, people come from my business experience, but then when they talk with me, they see that the main focus is to design the whole life. Because what's
Yeah.
the point of doing more revenues or more profit if then you hate the rest of your life? And that's most of the cases from most entrepreneurs that I talk to, especially in the US. Because it's in the US, it's amazing for productivity, profit, scaling, revenues, everything. It's just it's really the land of opportunities. But I think many, at least from my experience, most of entrepreneurs that I've been talking to have neglected the rest of their lives. So it's a trade-off. And eventually, over time, they don't choose the trade-off. They see that it's not sustainable. So the way it looks like, and what I mean with balance is usually, at least this kind of business owners are pretty good at setting goals and executing. They have systems and they read books and processes, or they hire consultants to get the 1 month goals, the 3 month goal, the 1 year goal, the 3 years goal, the 10-year goal, and the dreams and the big dreams and the way to execute and all the KPIs, the key performance indicators to see if they're on track or not with the business. But then when they see their lives, the rest of their lives is like, I don't know, I just wing it, with kids,
Yeah.
wife, holidays. Some don't even take holidays for 3 or 4 years with a $5 million revenue company. I'm like, I don't say this, but I'm like, how on earth couldn't you take holidays to enjoy the amazing empire, having 2 or 3 kids that you have built? So balance means that we will be talking and addressing the 4 areas of life. One would be the profession, business, and wealth. The second one is love, relationships with your partner, spouse, kids, friends, relatives, health and wellness, and spirituality and personal development.
Got
So
it.
I don't have a program because I don't impose what it should be. But yes, I focus on them being able to explore all those areas along the way. And you know what they call the entrepreneurial roller coaster. It's crazy
Yeah.
months. So some months they bring me a professional topic to be coached on. Then the next month there's a problem, an issue with a spouse, so they bring it and I coach them on that. So ideally, over time, we want to go around all the areas of life, so that they shoot for their goals, sometimes ambitious, but taking care of uh, an equilibrium, a balance between all the areas, so that when they look behind, they don't regret what they did. So they
Yep.
can go full steam ahead on their goals, knowing that they're checking all of these areas for a future rebalance and an actual balance to feel that balance. And that's what I do with my life, of course. That's
Yeah.
so when I say this, because this is the way I approach my life. And yes, I could have done way more money in the past, but I am always focusing more on balance, on having an amazing relationship, having free time to be able to travel, to work on my body. And that's what I think is it's a more sustainable way to shoot for goals.
Yeah. Well, and you're talking about living a life without regret, living your whole life. So, what a just picture someone working with you and a year into it, just experiencing so much more richness and presence and joy and satisfaction. So that's wonderful. So I want to talk a little, you just mentioned, that's how I live my life. I don't think it's a shock to many people that, coaches are always looking to be coached, always looking to have their own growth and breakthroughs. So I'm curious for you, you've been going through this rigorous professional coach training for a while now. Um, what's one way that's affected or given you a breakthrough in your own personal journey?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think it's day to day. Since the day I started my certification, my training, I have been impacted not only by the trainings, but by insights, introspection, and with every client. We usually say in ontology that we are constantly being a demand for coaching, meaning that we're constantly open to be coached by anything that comes to us. And it's really interesting that each session that I have with a client, I can recognize that it's touching something that I have lived before, that maybe it was a pain that I had before, or something I'm still experiencing. And it makes me observe that to see how do I feel about that situation, what am I doing in my life to address that concern. And it's inspiring me because, as we said in the beginning, I don't need to talk about my experience, but to support the other person on finding its answers with that specific topic. And that teaches me also, because I can see their approach, their discovery, their breakthroughs, and I learn a lot, because it also helps me, remove my limitations, the way my mind is structured.
Yeah.
It's a good reflection, a constant reflection of how I can see also things in a different way, so that I can open more my mind and remove, all the hard programming.
Love it. Great. Well, so you and I met, I don't know, it was almost a year ago, and we met at a entrepreneurs organization, or EO, as you mentioned a couple times
Yes.
before, event near where I am in Boston. And Dr. Maria Nemeth, the founder of the Academy, came out as one of the speakers, came in from Sacramento. So I wanted to just ask you, and since then, we've had one of our other coaches and somebody who's been working with us closely, Kalika Yap, is part of entrepreneurial organization. And we've been having some EO folks kind of come into the system. So I just want to hear a little bit about what's been your experience with EO, and how has that kind of influenced your journey as a coach?
Absolutely. So EO, Entrepreneurs Organization, is one of the largest and most influential entrepreneurial communities, nonprofit communities in the world. You have to sell more than $1 million per year. It's between 1 million and 1 billion, the range. 18,000 members around the world. That means that there's some kind of experience and complexity in their businesses. So it's not, we also have what we call accelerator programs from people that are selling at least $250,000 to below $1 million. So it's kind of like more established entrepreneurs with more experience, with at least 10 employees and stuff. And I co-founded the Argentinian chapter 10 or 11 years ago. I served for that board.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. That's
great.
why I love it so much. It's one of my startups, because the co-founders, I mean, it's a part to full-time job for the first 1 or 2 years.
I bet.
So it's really, but they always say that if you put one, you get 5, even if you don't shoot for it. Everything that we did for the organization was because we really wanted to develop. In that case, in Argentina, the entrepreneurial community in Argentina. Now I'm working worldwide, but damn, it has brought me so much value. And well, this, like, I don't know if I would be in front of you if I wouldn't have done this master in the MIT Endicott House with this and EO. So you see the ripple effects over 10 years. Yeah. And what I love is that it's a nonprofit that is focused on peer-to-peer learning. So we are all equal, from the person that is selling at 1 million per year until the billionaire. We are all equal within this organization. We're all learning from each other. There's no different hierarchy. And how this impacted me and it started my coaching journey is that we have forums, entrepreneur forums, with the same people. So it's like 7 to 9 people. You have your buddies every month. And we meet for 4 hours every single month. And the process is that we share our updates, the highs and lows of our life, business, relationships, and personal self. And there's 2 main things that we need to comply within the forum. First is confidentiality. Whatever we said there has to stay there. And second, we use the Gestalt protocol and mindset, where no one can ever give any kind of advice, feedback, judgment. We just listen. And each month, someone has to bring a very deep topic to be coached on, and someone is the coach. So we rotate every month. And the person that is the coach has to ask a lot of questions in the Gestalt mindset, which are non-indicative or judgmental, just exploration questions. And the only thing that we add, because it's this entrepreneur organization, is by the end, when you talk, let's say 1 hour about your problem, extremely deep problem or situation in life, we only share a personal experience that may or may not help you. And that's it. That is not related. I mean, of course, I mean, topically related to what you said, maybe, or even the feeling is related, but I'm not trying to tell you anything. If you have a problem with your partner, I can tell you an experience where I broke up with a partner, or where I had an amazing relationship, and you may use that for yourself. And so I've been doing that for 10 years. And people, each time that I had to coach, people told me like, "Oh my God, that was amazing." I'm like, I was just following the questions, like I'm not fixing anything. I'm just reading the
Right.
script.
Yeah, well, I think that's so refreshing for people sometimes because they're used to people listening a little bit
Yeah.
and then, oh, I know the answer. This is what you should do. This is what
Oh
you
yeah.
should do. And the method you're describing, it's not prescriptive. It's really respecting that they have
Oh
their
yeah.
own answers, and you don't have
And
an agenda for them.
and listening to listen, because what they
Yeah.
taught us, and I don't know, 27 years back then, or 28, I was like, way younger. They told me, when we are in the problem solving mindset, when someone brings up an issue or a problem, you're not listening to what they tell. You're just thinking of what to say or how to solve the problem.
Yeah.
So, but in this case, as we had to stop that inner inertia, because in the business, we're constantly, especially small business, we're constantly solving problems every single day. It's like issue, solution, all the time. Like fire, fireman, fire. In this case, it's like, listen, you don't know where this is going. You don't need to know where this is going. You don't have an agenda. And then it was so powerful that when I was in a forum, and I was the forum expert and chair, so this was my specialization because I fell in love with the method. I got really angry when someone was starting to give me advice, even a very well-established entrepreneur, because
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't want a father that tells me what to do. I want to
Mhm.
be equal. So I'm like, wow, that's very interesting. Because in the beginning, it should be, usually people, we all have thought sometime in our lives, just give me the answer, just tell me how
Yeah.
to solve the problem. But it was my experience to see the shift on saying, like, I don't want the answer. Like, let me do it myself. I can do it. I may be stuck right now, but I'll make it. I saw the lack of trust, unconsciously, of course, not purposefully, because they were actually trying to help me, on trying to tell me what to do, what's wrong, instead of just tell me what you did before. Because there's a lot of preaching also
Yeah.
in life. When we give feedback, or when we tell people what to do, it's like, are you really doing that in your life?
Yeah. And it's so linear and kind of hierarchical that there's, when people shift in the way you're describing, where it's, I'm not going to give you, one way direction advice. We're just kind of listening and letting wisdom emerge. I think that's where real creativity, real
Yep.
wisdom can just thrive. So
Yeah.
thanks for walking me through that and walking the audience through that, because it makes so much sense. I haven't been through that process with EO yet. It makes so much sense now that a lot of the EO folks are resonating with our coaching model and coming
Yeah.
into our program, because it's very, very aligned.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love that. Well, this has been such a great conversation, and I wanna leave with one question. I'm gonna focus it a little more than I do sometimes in these interviews, which is, one question I like to ask is, what advice would you give to someone who is considering starting a career as a coach? And I want to focus it even more. What advice might you give to someone who already has experience as an entrepreneur? Whether they have their own solo practice, supporting people in a different
Yeah.
way, or they've started a business, but they've been an entrepreneur for a little while, and they're thinking that, like you, maybe coaching might be a good direction to go. What
Yep.
advice would you give them?
So I can think of two. First one is that that I have what my first boss told me, brutal honesty. So whatever I tell you is absolutely truthful. And I would like to give a shout out and a blind recommendation to ACE, to Academy Coaching Excellence, the academy that you are one of the leaders, because I think it's top notch. I'm extremely I have high expectations with the professionals that I work with, because that's what I also bring to the table, and I'm amazed and just like mind blown of you folks' professionalism, experience, execution. So for sure, I would go blindly with the you folks, and have no agenda, have no commission, nothing. I just have pure truthful experience, personal experience. So that would bring a lot of ease, because you don't need to do a lot of market research. You know where to go. So that's a big part. It's like just go with them. You like you will be good for sure. You will never regret it. And the second part would be um consistently to what we do in coaching, in terms of taking small steps. I would suggest on doing one or two courses, initial courses, because entrepreneurs usually think, long term, the vision, the purpose, and that brings some anxiety, because most people need to be sure of what they do so they can embark on this new journey. And in this case, as the process is so amazing, my advice would be just do a small course, just to dip your toes and see how you feel, just do one, two, a couple of hours, 1 day, 2 days. You don't need to commit that much, and see how you feel. Because what I love from your approach is that it's not mostly a learning experience, but it's an experiential experience, so to say.
Yep.
And that's what I loved, because being business owners, we always use podcasts, books, processes, universities. There's so much information that goes to the mind, and we are living in the information times. There's so much information available. Everyone's rich in information. But I love that you folks' approach is about transformation and experiencing, because that's what's really different.
Mm.
You could give me the best coaching book, and that's it. I could read it. But the real difference is what we experience during these courses with you. And you can already experience this in 1 or 2 days only. You don't need to set yourself for a career or anything. So I would recommend you just do in one course, see how they feel. And that's going to bring a lot of information for the next step without having to think so much.
Yep. Brilliant. What a great ending note. Not having to think so much. Wouldn't that be nice? And really experiencing what it's all about. Well, great advice. I hope there's some entrepreneurs who are thinking about coaching. Maybe you're looking for schools listening to this. And I think that's really great advice from someone who's been through it. So thank you so much, Ignacio. This has been a fun conversation. I just always love your energy and your spirit and your brilliant mind. So great to have this time to chat.
Thank you, Greg. I'm so happy to be around you guys. I'm very grateful to be around.